Hello, and welcome to this episode of Spotlight 219, presented by your favorite newspaper, The Times, and Local 219, a show dedicated to highlight really cool things happening around the region weekly. On today's episode, we are joined with Matt Schuffert from Hard Rock Casino to talk about the potential convention center coming to the 219, and Cory Just from region staple Three Floyds to talk about Dark Lord Day that's happening this weekend. So without further ado, let's get started. My first guest is here to talk about public perceptions that are going on around the potential convention center that's coming into the area. Matt?
How you doing, Alan?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, our pleasure. Thanks for joining. I know it's tough on your schedule right now. So convention center, that seems to be a really big deal. Everyone is talking about it. Can you give us a little bit of the viewership, a background on potentially what's going on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Certainly has been a lot of focus for us in the city of Gary for the last, we'll call it 6, 8, 12 months. But, last year in 2024, our state legislators passed a bill which allowed for a Lake County Convention Center to happen here in Lake County. And with that, the state pledged $100 million towards that project. So a process was developed which allowed the Lake County commissioners to open up an RFP process for any town or city within Lake County to submit a proposal to be the home of Lake County Convention Center. So City of Gary, in partnership with Hard Rock Casino Northern Indiana, and the City of Hobart were the two cities that put in proposals within Lake County. So we've been really just kind of focused on, working with the City of Gary over the last, 6, 8 months to develop our proposal and really just to educate and create awareness of the possibility of a Lake County Convention Center. So this is a great opportunity for Lake County. It's a great opportunity to utilize $100 million the state of Indiana is going to give towards this project. And, furthermore, convention centers do one thing, and they bring a lot of people who don't live here into your community to spend time and money in your communities. This is going to be a great opportunity for Lake County when the decision is made and this thing gets built.
Well, we've seen an economic impact. I'm from Crown Point. That's where we're recording this studio right now. The legacy fields that are now on the east side is brought in so much money from a travel side of things, from families coming from out of town to play in tournaments. And we've seen a huge boom economically with our restaurants and entertainment and service industry. What does a convention center completely bring to the region from that perspective? I know you touched on it, but
right.
Just by throwing events and having parties and stuff, we realize that the venues, there's not a lot of them that are north of 1,000 people. Right. So talk a little bit about that if you can.
Absolutely. So I'll back up a little bit. When the legislation was passed, then the RDA, in conjunction with the county, had a study done. Right, they brought in a third party, experts in hospitality, conventions, trade shows, those type of things, to really study: is there a need for a convention center? Would there be supply? Would people want to come to Lake County? And that study overwhelmingly showed the answer is yes. This thing is projected based on that study to bring in excess of 100,000 trade show attendees, convention show attendees, group meeting attendees to Lake County on an annual basis, providing north of $75 million of economic impact to the region. And that's what it's all about. These convention centers themselves, they don't make a ton of money on a standalone basis. It's the benefit of bringing people in here who are going to stay in hotels, eat in restaurants, get gas at gas stations, shop at stores in the community that has the convention center. So, what was so good about this project proposal is, listen, an expert was brought in to do the study to make sure that, if this thing's built, it's going to be successful. And, we certainly rely heavy on that data and look forward to seeing that come to fruition.
Well, and you mentioned the $100 million that was kind of awarded from the state.
Right.
But that's not the complete story, right? I mean, at least talking to people, it seems like you guys are putting up a good portion of money to kind of really see this thing through.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how the state match, how the state funds, come to fruition. It's a 5-year, $5 million per year, 20-year commitment in the form of matching grants. So whatever community gets this convention center has to be able to put up $5 million a year for 20 years to get it. to get the state match. So between our proposal, Hard Rock and the City of Gary calls for the City of Gary to utilize gaming taxes that they get from us. They get north of $6 million annually from us, plus they get a lot more from the state as it pertains to their allocation of the overall gaming taxes. Plus, Hard Rock is contributing $1.5 million a year for 20 years toward the state match piece to get the convention center built. So the City of Gary's contribution plus Hard Rock's contribution gets the state match of $100 million. That allows for a roughly $150 million convention center to be financed, bonded, and built for Lake County. That does not include the additional development that's going to, at least in our proposal, that's going to happen. We, Hard Rock, are proposing that we will build a 300-room hotel, which will be the convention center hotel. It will be connected to our property. It will be connected to the proposed convention center, and we are funding that completely. There's no state money. There's no local money. That is Hard Rock's investment. And in addition to that, a developer by the name of Jay Leeser does a lot of development out of Munster and other areas in Lake County, owns a lot of land to the south of us. He is committed, should a convention center come to our site, for another 2 hotels and another 2 restaurants. So really to start a nice entertainment district. And I think, when you look at our site, a couple of things, we think really provide advantage for us. One, the access to 8094, and there's north of 200,000 cars that pass by our facility every day. And you get off on Burr Street and boom, you're in our parking lot in 60 seconds. We're also very close to Midway Airport, Gary Chicago International Airport, South Shore Rail System. We have what we feel is the best location just from a proximity to get people here. So, that kind of, I think that kind of sums up how this thing gets funded. I think the initial investment by Hard Rock, as well as some other private investment for starters. But, all in all, this thing is going to provide a lot of benefit for all of Lake County. All the neighboring cities and towns that have attractions, amenities, those are going to be made known to these trade shows and conventions that come to town. So the town of Griffith, great downtown area. The city of Hammond has hotels 1.5 miles from Hard Rock. East Chicago has the hotel at Ameristar Casino, which is a great hotel. So this is just not a City of Gary benefit related to our proposal. This is a Lake County benefit. We want to make sure that people are aware of that. This is people coming in to spend money in your communities is a good thing.
Heck yeah. And I think you've nailed some really great spots, and including where we're at in Crown Point. Our square is always popping. It's a great place to just see it. And I love the idea of concentrating an entire entertainment center in Gary, especially right there, because you're right, that location is incredible for that stuff. So can you kind of fill us in on where the status is currently?
Yeah, so going back, we presented our proposal ourselves in the City of Gary last November, and the Lake County commissioners have been doing a great job of analyzing those proposals, asking follow-up questions. They hired consultants who do this type of thing from a legal, a financial, and an operational perspective to help them along the way. And a decision is expected to be made at next week's Lake County Commissioner meeting, which is on May 21st, next Wednesday. The statute, the legislation that was passed called for a decision by May 31st. So they'll be meeting that. Should they make a decision from one of the 2 proposals next week, which we believe they will.
Awesome. So we're going to have an answer soon.
We are, and we're excited. And at the end of the day, this is a great thing for Lake County, regardless of which site gets selected. I truly believe that. I'm born and raised here, lived here all my life, and this is a once in a generation type of opportunity for the county to get $100 million of state money to build a convention center to get people to experience the greatness of Lake County. So certainly looking forward to the decision next week and looking forward to the future that a convention center can provide to the county.
Well, thank you for joining, Matt. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you have a ton of questions that you get every day about it. So is there anything you want to add that maybe we didn't touch on that you do want to kind of answer? The
only thing I'll throw out there is if anybody has questions about the specific City of Gary Hard Rock proposal, our website, lakecountyconventioncenter.com, has all of the details related to our proposal, a place where you can ask questions, a place where you can send your your support over to Lake County Commissioners should you choose to. So LakeCountyConventionCenter.com has all the information related to the Hard Rock City of Gary Convention Center proposal.
Well, appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for coming on and sharing that insight, and good luck.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and wish you all the best.
All right. Take care, Matt.
Take care.
So my next guest doesn't need really much of an introduction. The Three Floyds is a national staple of craft beer. I know usually when I go out of town and I go to places, breweries are like my first stop. And when everybody hears that I'm from this area and they get all excited about Three Floyds, and what better way to celebrate that than Dark Lord Day happening this weekend? Cory?
Hey, what's happening?
Cory, yeah, cheer on. Give me 1 second here. I gotta, boom.
Look at that.
Yeah, we made that work, and we didn't do that on pre-production at all.
No, never.
Yeah.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. So, Cory, talk about Dark Lord Day. What's going on this weekend?
So Dark Lord Day. Thank you for the introduction, by the way. Those were some very kind words. So
yeah, no problem, man.
Dark Lord Day is happening. This is the 21st incarnation of Dark Lord Day. So 21 years has been going on. We celebrated the 20th anniversary last year, happening on Saturday. And, it's a celebration, obviously, of beer, of all things Three Floyd. And it's the one day a year that we release Dark Lord and all its variants. And, yeah, it's happening this Saturday. So we're stoked.
Awesome. What's on the agenda for this weekend if anybody's going?
If anyone's going, we have amazing bands. We have a nice cross section of both metal and more metal that we like to do. But we're actually stoked this year because we kind of switched up. We have one of our favorite bands playing Drab Majesty, which is the furthest thing that you can get from metal. So don't let that scare you away. There's something for everyone there. But so gates open at 9:00. They close at 9, so it's an all day event. Like I said, we'll have all day rocking. All of our Dark Lords will be on draft, the new ones, a lot of vintage ones. So all our core brands will be on draft, music, food. It's just a big party, man. So.
Heck yeah. I think one of the coolest parts about that day is not only is it a regional event for us, but it's also global, and people travel from all over the world to come to this, and the communal aspect of it. I mean, you will make friends.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So, as this event started 21 years ago with a few hundred people and has grown into, each and every year grown bigger and bigger and bigger. We took a little pause for COVID, obviously, because we couldn't do it. But that's kind of the thing. It's not just a celebration of Three Floyds or Dark Lord, but a celebration of craft beer in general.
Yeah.
So you meet fellow beer fans from the region, from the nation, from all over the world that come to this. And it's different every year. And it's super exciting to see that. One thing that's unique about this event is obviously it's your chance to buy Dark Lord, but people will bring in beers from other places. And so we have a bottle share tent really. And if you've never experienced that and you're thinking about going, it's really something to see because you have people from all over the world sharing these beers. And it shouldn't be an intimidating thing. It shouldn't be it's just this whole community aspect of sharing cool stuff. So, and that's what we're all about. It's just, celebrating really craft beer.
So it's 21 years, but how long have you been a part of Dark Lord Day at this point?
Well, it depends. So I was coming before I worked for Three Floyds. I was coming as a fan. So the first Dark Lord Day that I ever attended was back in 2009. And it just so happened that my career took me to working for Three Floyds. I started here in 2019. So the festival took a break in 2020, 2021. We did kind of a abbreviated version of Dark Lord where people could pick up bottles. But the festival came back 3 years ago. So this will be my third actual Dark Lord Day festival working at Three Floyds. And I love it. It's an amazing time. Our staff is so incredible. Everyone pitches in. We start planning this. Literally, next year's Dark Lord will start being planned the day after Dark Lord ends this year. But the last couple weeks, just to see all the infrastructure going up, all the guys bottling everything, packing bags, everyone, making signs, pitching in. It's all hands on deck for the company. And we're stoked to put it on. And somehow it happens every year. And, hopefully it keeps going on forever.
Well, it's such a cool event. And I know anytime we've ever had an event on a way lesser scale, it's all hands on deck. The anxiety is high around the place. So good luck. And there are tickets still available, correct?
That is correct. If you haven't bought tickets yet, you have until end of day tomorrow, so Friday. We still have some bottle tickets available, which will get you our regular Dark Lord plus 3 of the barrel aged variants. That's the regular ticket. And the barrel aged variants are Dark Lord that's been aged in whiskey barrels for over a year. So there's 3 different versions of that. This is one of them that you could get.
Man,
on these because one thing that we've been doing the last couple of years is we've partnered with the family of Frank Frazetta, renowned legendary fantasy sci-fi artist. We're all heavy metal nerds and into sci-fi, D&D, and all that stuff. I mean, shocking, right? If you know anything about the brand. But it was an honor to partner with his family and have his artwork on the label. So those are all the variants that we do. But those tickets are still available, and then we also have general admission tickets. So if you don't want to spend on get the bottles and bring those home, you can come get in the fest and try a bunch of stuff on draft, see some bands and kick it with some friends, and just have an awesome experience.
Awesome. And logistics wise, if anybody has any questions about parking or anything like that, where do you send them?
All of that stuff you can find on threefloyds.com. Go to the Dark Lord Day page. You can get to that directly via the website. There's a lot of info on our Instagram and Facebook pages too. But the tickets you're able to purchase through threefloyds.com. It'll take you right to the link to buy tickets. And like I said, end of day tomorrow is your last chance to get them. And hopefully, if you're on the fence, you got to come out and experience it at least once.
Heck yeah. It's one of the greatest events that has ever hit this region. So thank you so much for coming on and helping promote it a little bit. And good luck. I know it's going to be a long weekend of fun, stress, and everything else.
Oh, it's totally worth it, though. We can't wait. So we love to see everybody out here, and we're just stoked that people are as excited as we are. So cheers.
Well, you're the man, Cory. Cheers. Thank you again for joining.
Thanks again.
Later. So thanks for watching this episode of Spotlight, and special thanks to our guests for joining. To find out about all things happening in the region, go to the Times website at nwi.com or on their socials. And please check out our Eat Local 219 app, both on iTunes and Android, to check out our amazing local restaurants, make reservations, or get amazing deals from these restaurants directly to your phone. New episodes drop every week on Thursday, so be on the lookout. Thanks again, and have a great weekend.